Dinosaur shake things up, Melodious on the back end of things, and the power of Centurion still showing. Make sure you guys smash the crap out of that subscribe button so you guys don't miss out on more awesome content. We have your second Refined Gaming Taste Tournament breakdown for you here. And I will say, looking at how this meta has started to shape up, everybody genuinely being up in arms about, Baron being gone and all these negates, have opened up the door to some of the most fun Yu-Gi-Oh! That I have had the chance to actually see out here. Now, with, the good comes the bad. I mean, your most represented deck out of this top cut was actually Snake Eyes, but no longer is Snake Eyes such a horrible matchup to be able to handle out here. A lot of the way that this deck kind of operates and things, you still have your chances to kind of dodge underneath a lot of the issues and make some pretty strong boards. So it's not like it's unwinnable. You just kind of got to work for it a little bit more. Now, interesting things for this top cut. We did have one Melodious. You've already seen this deck profile on my channel. It was a very special showcase. We had the chance to show off. My friend actually had a solid hour of playtesting hands and learning combos and a couple hours of YouTube tutorials while at work, but got the deck down pretty good. We also had one Rescue Ace Duelist. Actually very happy to see that that's doing pretty well. Tenpai Dragons back at it again, showcasing some of the power of the meta. We also had Branded, and I will say Branded continues to sit here at the dinner table and be one of those interesting little contenders that we have seen do pretty well. And then, surprises, we had a Centurion deck showing up out here, showcasing some of the pretty interesting value that you could get going through the loops. And in top 4 is our Dinosaur Duelist. I didn't expect to see a Dino deck making any sort of movements out here, but it actually did, and that's really cool to see. Let's pass on over to Decklist. Winning our event here was actually pure Snake Eyes, and I will say you're going to see a lot more of this as this meta kind of unfolds. The little Snake Eyes Diabellstar kind of being this card that has kind of granted this deck some extra new life. I do see the dramatic Snake Eyes Chase finding some play in here as well. Divine Temple being the best card you can still kind of have value for. The Subversion still doing its full little thing in here. And of course, we're actually side decking a copy of Silvera. This is actually a very welcome change in here as well. And is that Pit Knight early? Wow, I haven't seen early seeing any play hardly at all. But this is, once again, this is another really welcome addition into the thing. And then, of course, the little OTK lines that you can actually do down here with Zelantis. Some more defensive plays. And remember, if you think your day is going to go sideways, just have the cross-out designator present, and you'll be able to handle pretty much everything that you need to with this deck. Also, the one-up, by the way. Cool stuff. All right, second place in here. Oh, well, this just feels very familiar, but we've opted to play the Jet Synchron instead of playing the new Snake Eyes Diabellstar, which is fine. All right, once again, you have those different options available to you in here for the things that you can do. Double Poblar, the double Flamberge Dragon. We're still doing the cross-out designators because we don't want to lose to the randomness. This build also chose to play triple Moonlit Chill, which is actually kind of wild to me as well. You do see the Threatening Roar down here, being that little card you can thrust on into for the value. Just being able to detour your opponent so you don't randomly lose to the RNG roll is actually pretty good. And I also do see out here Omega finding a pretty cool home in this deck now as, your level 8 to go to. Shaving the random card off of your opponent's hand has definitely become a lot easier to use, and that's actually kind of a good thing to see out here. Cool stuff. Top 4 are Melodious Duels. Now, we do have a lot larger of a little special for you on the channel for things if you want to go on into this, but some things I will tell you. Power Sync Stone is a pretty strong card. Basically you being able to put the first counter on this and then have your opponent go, oh, I can't really do anything now. It's a skill drain that rolls itself off every single turn. That puts some pretty big advantage on you. You do have the full power of the Change of Heart in here as well. And, man, still maximizing on this. And yes, we are playing the Poly over the Fusion sub. I know, the Fusion sub. I know a few people kind of like the Fusion sub, over for the net draw 1, but honestly, there's just some hands where you need to be able to fuse from the hand, and the poly giving you the option to do that is actually pretty important. So sometimes it's not always about the raw extra draw 1. All right, and then Dinosaurs! Rawr! We actually have double Xeno Meteorus in here. We do have the Doodle Doop Beast actually seeing some play. And I do see here that this build did opt for triple super poly. So keep in mind out here, you know, as you're kind of trying to answer these fields and being able to control these more problematic things your opponent might be trying to do, having super poly as this little edge for you to do your thing is good. I mean, hey, Garua, Mud Dragon, still the 2 best go-to fusion monsters to handle any sort of end board here. You do see Protoss with the Nemesis flag, man. Protoss just kind of has turned into one of those annoying little floodgate cards. But you kind of need it with the way that the game is going right now. I will give the TCG credit, though. We are clinging on to this card so very hard. Like, the TCG wants to continue to do some crazy things with this. It's genuinely impressive just how much we are clinging onto it. All right. It's our Rescue Ace pile. So, we are playing 50 cards, which is good. There's the double Pobbler, as you would expect, double Diabell Star Witch. We are doing the Durandal to be able to toggle on in to the little warrior side of the package, so you can kind of get the game going. We still are doing full bonfire package with 50 cards. You got to keep in mind, I mean, sure, the deck has a little bit of extra fat in it, and that's fine. One of the cool things I did like about this from the 1 o'clock profile was the fact that this build is splashing Old Lich the Golden Lord in it. The fact that, you know, you can beam down this 3,500, be able to eat off one of your back row, and put that additional pressure on your opponent, or being able to have another monster to be able to call onto the field for the link climbing side of things, actually can matter quite a lot. Hi. See, we are also doing some Gizmek Uka plays in here as well. And you have some fresh board breakers as well. Yeah, this is all pretty easy stuff that we've seen already. All right. Tenpai Dragon. Gas, gas, gas. There's the power of the one of Magna Hut, which is pretty good. This build is opting to play the Necro Valley, which is actually pretty solid. I will say some of the better things that this build's doing. We are doing the Meteor Burst in here. Keep in mind, you know, being able to not have effects during the battle phase is actually pretty good. Yeah, monsters in your opponent's possession can activate their effects during the battle phase. So basically, you can deny your opponent the little options to be able to play the game. Gotta love defensive options. I see we've also got the shifters in here, the Droll and Lockbirds as well. And of course, there's some very nasty things in the deck, like the Dimensional Barrier in here, getting the chance to kind of steal things from you. And I will also tell you, Ghost Ogre and Unfun Bunny is one of the best cards that you could have right now in the current era. This card is absolutely bonkers for what it actually needs to do, but I'm very happy to see what we've got here. All right, top 8 continued on here. We have our Branded Duelist. Wow, still playing triple copies of Albion, which is pretty standard. We do have ye old Gimmick Puppet Nightmare. I do see the Spriggan's Kit is still doing its thing here. Branded Fusion is still the heart and soul of this deck in terms of what you want to do. Now, I will say that this is also kind of a change of pace in here as well. I did see some people kind of pushing away from Super Poly, but the way that this build looks like it's attempting to do its things in here, I do think that Super Poly is going to be one of those cards that you kind of just have to rely on right now. You know, being able to clear 2 Tenpai Dragons off of a field during the battle phase can make or break your scenario. Granted, I mean, if your opponent left your one up back row alone, you know, you can actually do that. It really just kind of depends. But outside of that, this build feels, once again, very standard, and that's the way a lot of this is going to be. A lot of these builds are going to continue to be, you know, pretty molded out in terms of what your expectations are. And we had a Centurion deck. Yes, Gargoyle 2 being one of those fresh new additions that this deck just got. And yes, you have this deck actually finally getting the chance to maximize and play its bonfires so you can actually get to the True Deas to be able to get things going. And of course, Oxwilla being able to basically help this deck out, being able to toggle in for the Wake Up Centurion or the Phalanx. Interestingly enough, this build is not playing the Counter Trap card, which I've heard a lot of people go, oh, you need that Counter Trap card. That Counter Trap card can make it or break it. And honestly here, I'm seeing some interesting little additions to this. This is actually quite interesting to see. Hello, new support card. You're so good. So what do you guys think about these decks? Please leave a comment down below. Tell me what you guys think. I'll see your beautiful faces back here in the day, guys. Peace out. Patrons, thank you.
Thank you so much for watching. Check out these other videos.